So, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get into all of that. So thank you again for taking a minute out to join the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
So I want to begin our conversation with 4 years ago. We were all trying to wrap our heads around this pandemic. How long is it going to last? And every place in the world had a different response. And I know Canada was a little bit more hardcore than any place else
Yeah.
with restrictions. So ultimately, how did you get through that time period, and how did it affect the way that you do your work now?
I just actually hired my supervisor in February of 2020, and then the pandemic hit, and I had to dwindle down my staff like half because it was actually a good opportunity to clean house a little bit because I did have somebody in the office who wasn't like really top notch and whatnot. So I decided to keep my super new supervisor over my office person because my background, I was an executive assistant before I started my business. So I was able to do the admin stuff no problem. And then we dwindled down, and I think what kind of saved us that we diversify. We don't only do residential cleaning, we do a lot of commercial cleaning, and we had a really good relationship with like it's kind of interesting, like low income housing project. They have 9 buildings in Calgary, and because they got fund from the government, we would go in there like twice a week and disinfect the common areas. So that really, really saved us.
Yeah.
But I like everything went down to half. And then after that, we started, educating ourselves. I belong to CBF, which is called Cleaning Business Fundamentals. And funny enough, that's when I signed up with them. And then they were really getting, a ball ahead on how to do the disinfecting and all this, and how to, communicate with your clients and whatnot. So that's how we got through it. And I'll be honest with you, like we had a couple of rounds here. I think the second round, am I able to curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Customers said, "Fuck it, just
Yeah.
come and clean my house."
Yeah.
And a lot of them, because they were cooped up in the house, they started with the deep clean, and we've been growing steady since then. So back then I was maybe like a $500,000 business, and now I've been an over $1 million business now for this is my third year.
Okay.
And then this past 4 months, every month I was over 100K revenue. So, which is like top 6% of the cleaning companies, especially residential.
Okay.
Commercial is a different beast.
Yeah. So
So
let's get
that's
to.
kind of how we got through it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I can imagine how essential that would have been during that time period. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do as a CEO, and just kind of being in charge of the operation. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, third graders. It's career day. And one of the kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I clean toilets.
Okay. Okay. They would
That's my
understand that.
elevator pitch. So
Yeah.
I am very like our business, our trade per se is really portrayed really badly in the media because it's always like, the grungy cleaning lady, or, people who are unreliable and whatnot. And I really want to change that, how people view it. So I'm not shy about saying, yes, we clean toilets and it's a noble business, and especially now that the trades are really short in supply, and people can get good cleaning people. I'm very vocal about how we do it and what we do. So yeah, we clean toilets, and along with that we take off a chore of somebody's shoulder who doesn't like to do it, especially like, kids. They didn't like to clean their rooms. They don't like to clean this, and definitely they don't know how to clean their bathrooms. So that's what we do. We do that for you.
So, what did you want to be when you were growing up, when you were in grade school? Was there a dream that you had?
I wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
And I did go, and I worked in a vet clinic until I fainted a couple of times.
Okay. Okay.
And it wasn't for me.
Well, you had mentioned coming to Canada. Take me back to your childhood and how these seeds of being an entrepreneur, of being in business, and of evolving into who you are today. How did all of the seeds take root and grow into who you are today?
So I grew up in communist Hungary. So when I say that, especially to Americans, they're like, "Ooh, communism!" But it was so good when you were a kid because it was so organized, and we always had things to do. We had great camps, great education, great meal system. You know, like you guys have the cafeteria. We had something similar to that, but cooked meals and things like that. So it was very good, very good. Communism was really good for finding and developing leaders.
Yeah.
Excellent. At 14, I was already going to leadership camps. So my grandfather was in the party. So when you are in the party, you had privileges. So my grandfather had a produce store. So he was technically an entrepreneur, which was really not common in the communist system because everything was state run, right? So, but my grandfather had his own business. So I early on, I was 7 years old. I would get up summer break. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. My grandpa and I would go to the market. We would buy the fresh produce, and he would take me because I was really good at negotiating, and I could get really good prices. And then we would open the store at 7 a.m. and then we'd be open till like 5 p.m. every day. Saturday we'd be open from like I believe 8 a.m. to 12, and then everything would be closed in the communist system. Everything was closed on Sundays, starting actually Saturday afternoon to Monday morning, so everybody could take rest. So that was our schedule. And yeah, so I learned very early on about negotiation, about hard work. And then my parents continued on that path, and they were also entrepreneurs. They also had a produce store, and then they eventually opened up a cafe. So I worked on all of these ever since I was like 6 years old. So it wasn't child labor. Don't think
Yeah,
of it
yeah.
that way. I actually love doing it. I love being with my parents and my grandfather, and I learned so much. So that's how my journey started in communist Hungary, where there was no entrepreneurship yet.
Yeah.
And and my mom, she just retired. She's 76, and she just sold her business last year. She had a barber shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's been a hero for you? Who's been an inspiration for you in your life?
Oh, my mom, my aunt. So my aunt, on the other side, she is very educated. She's got 4 diplomas and a PhD, and she was running. She was a CFO. So imagine electricity company. I don't know who you guys have done in the States. We have NMAX here. She was the CFO. She was the CFO of the Budapest Zoo, and then her the president got into government, and he was the environmental minister, and she went with him. She was his right hand, and she worked in that sphere for 4 years. So I really really look up to her because she had a huge career, especially being a woman. And when I say that, in Hungary, actually, a lot of women are really in really high power positions. I don't have all that I'm fighting to find my place in my family, in my business, in my family. I always knew my place, and it was very well respected, even as a woman. So for me, it was great, and my childhood was great. I had a really good time with my grandparents. We were doing our own thing, fishing. In the summertime, my grandfather would close the shop for all of month of August, and we'd just be by the water. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of heroes in my life. Yeah.
So if you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that you admire or find fascinating, who would that be? Who would you love to meet and spend some time with?
Well, there's quite a few people. One definitely would be JLo.
Yeah.
Even though she's on a like kind of downwards per girl right now. But Tina Turner, I would love to meet Tina Turner. I found her life fascinating, and what she went through and how she persevered. And she was able to, through the divorce, just keep her name and build her name up to be what we know today. I would really really love to meet her.
So what is your motivation to do the work that you do? To wake up every day, to lead and accomplish what you get done, and also to evolve as a human being? What is that collective gumption for you every day to do that?
My why is I'm an immigrant. So we had a lady when we came here from the church, and she helped us, and she was fantastic. And that's who I am today, and that's what I'm able to do with my business, because I hire a lot of newcomers, and I don't care if you don't speak English. Nowadays, I used to go with like 20 pounds of dictionary to high school for a whole year until I kind of learned English. And now we have these, smartphones, so it's so easy. So I coach them, I help them, I give them a job, so they can have a good start in Canada. Um, so that's a really big part of who I am and how I run my business. And why I do what I do every day is because I'm committed. I'm committed to my team. We have an agreement that they'll get hours. So I work every day really, really hard to make sure that they have their full-time hours. Because our line of work is not like 9 to 5. We clean 1 to 3 homes a day, and I need to make sure that we have those 1 to 3 homes to clean a day. And that's why I do, like, I'm really passionate about business, but that's what I do, the podcast. That's what I do, a lot of networking, because that's one part of me getting business so they have hours.
So of everything, of all of your clients, of everything that you've done professionally, what was one of the periods where it was the most growth? Maybe it was hard, but it turned into something really positive. In your career, what time frame was that for you?
It has been a constant, because I started this business because I really got tired of corporate and the accountability piece, because I was an executive assistant and everything landed on my desk. And then I would do VP's jobs and things like that. It was great. I learned a lot. I just got burned out. So I wanted to do it on my own, and that's how I started my business. So it's been a steady growth for the last 15 years. But what was really a game changer for me is I had a business meltdown in 2015. I hired a lot of family and friends, and it was a really difficult time. So that's when I looked for a business coach. I hired a business coach, and we worked together for 7 years, and he was instrumental in my growth first as a business owner, and then also my business growth. Um, and then I implemented a lot of things that I really live by today. Like, one big thing is I implemented a no gossip policy. I fire for that because it was so difficult with my family and friends, because you speak the same language, so they think that they have an in. They're your family and friends. They think that they have an in. So double whammy right there. And it just was really, really hard for me. And I was part of it. I was absolutely part of it. So I decided no more. And my business coach helped me through that.
So of what's the best advice that you've ever gotten yourself?
I think done is better than perfect for
Yeah.
me. I really live by that, because we can strive for perfection, but then nothing gets done because you're always shooting for that star that's so unreachable. So I always tell my team, just get it done. Let's see what the first shitty draft looks like, and then let's build on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I built my website.
Yeah.
That's how I built the business. That's how I built everything, because if I'm going to focus on always being perfect, then nothing is going to get done. Nothing.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into that version of you before you move to Canada, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've gained along the way. What advice would you impart on that young version of you?
I think just have fun, just
Yeah.
enjoy life, and not to take everything so seriously. I think it goes in spurts. Like, when I was young, I didn't really give a shit about anything. And then now I don't give a shit about anything very much either, because I'm that age. But in between, there's a lot of hardship personally as well, both professionally as well. So I think not to take everything so at heart, and like truly live by, Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind. Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah.
Always just, you always have a fresh start. Every 24 hours, you have a fresh start.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell myself.
So of everything that you've done and accomplished and become in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I think I'm just really, really proud of who I am becoming. I find myself a very open person, and I work on myself every day. Like, part of hiring a business coach was because I was a shitty leader. I wasn't good at what I was doing. And if I look at back that and where I am now is day and night. And one B hack that I had was that, I don't have to constantly recruit because good candidates are coming to us. And that's happening now. So I think that's a good measurement of where I was and where I am now.
So if we get off this call and you can go anywhere in the history of time and see one event with your own eyes, you won't affect anything going forward, but just to witness one event in human history, what would you love to have seen with your own eyes?
I would have loved to see the Berlin Wall came down because that was very, very instrumental for my country and also my life, because we actually got stuck in the system because we were in a refugee camp, and usually you were in a refugee camp for max a year, and we got stuck there for 3 years. I mean, it wasn't all that bad. We were in Italy.
Yeah.
But still, I would have loved to witness that. And a lot of things have happened in Hungary, my own country, because of course the Berlin Wall came down. It was such a huge change. So I would have loved to be there.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a very hardworking person. I am very open to experiences and to people. And then sometimes I can get a little bit of martyr as well. I think it's my hen mother kind of nature, right? And then but I really try to suppress those feelings and thoughts because I don't find them healthy for me. So I always try to reframe it.
So what's the best thing about living in Calgary?
A lot of things. The mountains are close,
Yeah.
and it's actually a really good city to be living in, even though we have, I don't know if the states you guys are struggling. Newcomers are having a really hard time settling right now. Interest rates were high. They are
Yeah.
working on it now, and then housing situation is horrible, and young people can't really buy their own right now.
Yeah.
So, but still, it's really good. I still find it like the land of opportunity, what it was 35 years ago when we came, and I'm really proud. What I also really like about not only Calgary but Canada, that I can be a very proud Hungarian living in Canada.
Yeah.
Like that, like, because I eat, breathe, shit Hungary, of course, because that's how I was raised. You can't take that out of me.
Yeah.
But then I'm very mixed with the Canadian culture, and I really do think it's a good mixture. It's a good values, and how we live are aligned a little bit. So I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to reach out, learn more about what you're doing, any of the good business in your world, where's the best place to go?
They can reach me at Calgary. And then we are also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and then also on YouTube. So it's all, the handle is all Clean Club Calgary.
Okay, excellent. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story, for your time. It's been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best of luck with everything.